Hi, James. Rousing tribute to the Bruins. Quite nice. You've done a good job of selecting them. Just a couple of spots down here where you could kind of go in and clean them up a bit. Let's look at that. I'm just coming in here. There we are. My brush is pretty tiny, so there we go. Just clean up those edges a wee bit like that. And over here too, not too much, like that, and like here, where his leg would be, in here, very small brush, separate those guys out. And that looks like about it. Otherwise, really good job, actually, pretty nice. You got a little bit there, and in here, what I would do is kind of, you might want to come in here with the clone tool and kind of make a front edge to that skate if possible. Just kind of clone that in, because otherwise it kind of looks like he's got a chopped off skate. You've got another one here, same deal. So where have we got a good skate? Maybe right here. And you're not going to need a lot because you're kind of out a ways. But when you're doing a larger piece, you've got to really zoom in and look at this stuff to make sure that you are not chopping off pieces that you shouldn't be chopping off. Okay, so I'm just going to trim that a tiny bit, and it doesn't have to be, there we go. Okay, so something along that lines. And again, right in here. Just make sure that the edges of the skates would match up with what skates really look like. Okay, right here we're getting a white halo on that. So zoom in. The message is zoom in. Okay, so sort of like that. All right, not totally on board with the yellow cast to the sky. Just not loving it. You could do any number of things with that. You could come in here with the sat and take that out and just do, you know, like warm it up, but don't make it really yellow. So that works as well if you want. Or you could kind of come in here and see if it would work with a bluish cast, since you've got the blue here with the ice. So you might want to do something like that instead. Just the yellow is kind of not quite sure that's where you want to be going. That ice is super blue, so what you could do is just bring that opacity of that layer down just a bit to kind of blend it off a tiny bit. The Bruins thing, I think we need just a little bit more of that maybe. And you could play with the whatever is available to you in layer styles, blend modes. And I actually kind of like hard light on this one. That kind of looks cool. With the Our City, Our Team, needs to be bounced off the layer, you know, differentiated from the layer a bit more. But we've also got, I'm gonna go in here, oops. I am going to look at this. All right, the drop shadow right here on the skaters. I think that's making them look a lot less integrated than it really should be. So one of the things I would do is take advantage of the fact that it's ice. Copy and paste a layer over itself, use the transform tool, hold down the shift and pull that, and then come right up here, and you can move it around just a little bit like that, and then drop the opacity of that a touch so it looks like a reflection. You could also look at how it might look in different blend modes, like that for instance, but I think normal with just a dropped opacity kind of works the best. And that gives you the sense that they're really on a reflective surface. If they are, so would the logo be. So do the same thing with the logo. So I just copied and pasted it and brought that in here. And I'm going to change the blend mode to something else like normal. And, oh, I brought it below the ice. So I want it to be above the ice. That would change things drastically. And in this case, soft light looks really cool. So yeah, I'm liking soft light a lot. It gives you the sense that there's a reflection, gives it a lot of dimension. I'm feeling very crowded at the top. So you could come in here. I'm going to rasterize this. Rasterize Smart Object, just for the sake of expediting this. And then I'm going to select just the top part of the sky, no buildings, and extend that sky up a bit. Shift key, and just give it a little more sky and tell it image reveal all, because I just expanded it. Ooh, we've got a lot more ice there too. Okay, so let me bring this up a bit more even. Still not used to not having to hold down the shift key to constrain proportions. Okay, so now I can come in and crop off all that stuff that I didn't necessarily need. Like about there, I believe we were. Possibly, maybe just a bit more, I think. There we go, something like that. The Visit Bruins, we can move just down into a place where it's a little bit brighter so we don't lose it. And Our City, Our Team, I would come in here and see what happens when I put a little bevel and emboss on that. Not even close to that much, maybe a 2 instead. Multiply, screen, and then put a little drop shadow on it, but just a little one. Size, bring the size way down, bring the opacity way down, just to get it to pop off of that background a bit more. All right, size, there we go. And you see how it makes it really kind of separate off from the city scene a bit better. So I think you are aligning it with this. That was probably a good instinct, but I'm not going to treat those like text. I'm going to bring this over so it's tucked into that corner fairly well and put it something like that. So that is kind of what I would suggest. That's one version. I did something like that too, where I did the little bit cooler sky, a little bit warmer sky, and kept the ice warm. So you could do either one, or you could do your own version. But just the idea to not have this lost, don't have it lost in the yellow, so we can read it, make it pop a little bit. Don't have a drop shadow on the ice, but use instead a reflection, because ice is reflective. So very often you're going to see reflections in the ice. So do that instead. So that would be a lot of stuff to think about, and I hope you enjoyed the options I've given you, and I look forward to seeing what you do next time.